So hi, my name is Paul Boehnke, and as you may have gathered from other videos, I work with a lot of solo entrepreneurs to help them overcome the negative self-talk, which is at the root of so many things like, procrastination, perfectionism, worry, imposter syndrome, because I'm really wanting to help them have more impact, make more money, have more fun. Today, I am here with Mandy, and we will be engaging in a real coaching session around an important topic that's pretty important to Mandy. Now, you might be asking why I'm holding these coaching sessions and then publishing them for the public when these things are usually very confidential. Well, what I'm hoping is that those who are viewing this and dealing with similar issues that Mandy might be can find some benefit in watching this, that hopefully Mandy, of course, will benefit from the coaching, that those who sort of wonder, what is coaching really like? They can get a little glimpse behind the curtain. And maybe even for newer coaches, I am hopeful that this might be a good example of powerful coaching. At least that's my intention. Now, Mandy and I have not worked together before, so this is all new to both of us. You're seeing us introduce ourselves to each other and sort of get to know what's going on. But before we start, I want to just say thank you, Mandy, for your willingness to talk openly about things that are important to you, for your honesty and your authenticity, because really that will be the gift to all of us. Before we dive in, is there any questions or clarifications or anything that you would like to say, Mandy?
Uh, Only thank you to you. Well, you're welcome for my uh, future honesty and authenticity,
Yes,
and thank you for doing this. I think it's a beautiful model uh, for people like you to share your coaching sessions on YouTube, and I appreciate the opportunity to raise my hand for this. Yeah, it's going to
great,
be great.
great. Well, I'm happy to have you here. So why don't we just dive in? I'm curious to know what is the topic or the sort of area that you would like to discuss today.
Um, it's if I had to give it a word, and I don't care for this word, so I'm hoping that it will morph into something else. But I really want to talk about my I need clarity and help with my articulation of who I am as a coach. Um, I I'm a very eccentric person, and I have a broad area of interests. I've got big background of work as a coach and as before that in the business world, and I'm interested in everything, and I'm good at least 60% of what I'm interested in, right? And I fought having a niche. Like I've never gotten myself to a place where I felt like I could say I do this with clients,
Mhm.
and uh, I'm concerned that that's holding me back. And I do you I noticed in your opening that you mentioned working with people with self-esteem issues, or and that is certainly me. There's intellectually, I recognize there's no reason for that, but then again, it is what it is. And I think that there's something here for me about not wanting to get too clear on what it is I do, because then I think there's a part of me that just doesn't want me to get there. So,
Hmm.
does that give you, that was a lot of words, but does that give you the general terrain?
I believe it does. I believe it does. That's a
Okay.
powerful topic. And I know for a lot of new business owners, particularly service providers like
Hmm.
you and me, it is difficult to sort of narrow down and figure out, how do I talk about what I do? Coaching tends to be this sort of amorphous, how do you describe it thing?
Right.
Um, and of course, nobody's interested actually in buying coaching, but what they're interested in is the results that we can help them get.
Yeah.
So when we can get clear on how to articulate that, that helps everybody. It helps the potential clients. It helps us in marketing, all sorts of things. Perfect topic. So getting some clarity about how you articulate what you're doing as a coach, um, just to make sure I'm really clear, when you think about this conversation, what is it that you would really like to accomplish around that goal of clarity for your niche?
Accomplish in today's session
Yes.
or in
Yes.
life in session? Okay.
During the next 30 minutes or so.
Okay. Let's see. Well, what I really like is for to leave here with um, a written description that you've offered and I've, evaluated and agree on, but that's not realistic. So um, maybe what's realistic is a clear plan of how to do the work to get to that articulation.
Okay.
Is that I mean, that feels kind of meaty to me. That feels like it's real.
Yeah,
And I imagine probably doable. I don't know.
I would think so. I would think
Okay.
so. We're looking for a clear plan for how do we get clarity.
We say it that way. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't expect to have it all figured out in this session. And I need some help on how to go through the steps to figure it out.
absolutely, absolutely. So, just out of curiosity, why is getting this clarity around your niche and being able to articulate what you do as a coach, why is that important to you?
Because as I try to market myself more broadly, I haven't done a lot of marketing. I've been a coach for, I don't know, 8, 9 years.
Mhm.
And all my clients have been referrals, word of mouth. And I now I want to expand my coaching business. And that's going to mean I need to market.
Yeah,
And so I need to know how to talk about myself. I need to know how to help people see what might be possible for them.
yeah.
Um, and yeah,
That's great. So what I really heard was the importance is to expand your business, to have more impact on the world, to help people more powerfully and more people.
yes, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
And
sounds
I
great.
appreciate you bringing impact into it because that really is, that's why any of us become coaches, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's not. I don't think any, well, very few people who really become coaches do it because they think, oh, this is going to make me a lot of money, but I don't really care about people. You know, it's I care about people, and I think this is a way I can support myself and my family. What a nice thing.
Yeah. I care
Yeah,
about the planet and the people on it. Yes.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So as you think about gaining this clear plan for how to articulate what you do, how to set up marketing, what is it that you believe we really need to sort of address or resolve in order to get that clarity? What's kind of standing in your way?
A giant brain cloud. Um, I there's I overwhelm myself with the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I also um, I like to say that I'm a recovering perfectionist, but if that's true, I spend as much time off the wagon as on. And so in my mind, on a normal day, if you will, in my mind, I'm like, well, this better be really good or nobody's going to want to work with you. And in other days, I say, no, that's not the path. The path is authenticity and connection and just being real about who you are as a coach. And um, in either case, I have, like a giant um, map, visual map, I forget what they're called, of all the possibilities and all the, and well, I want to say I could do this too, and I do this, and I do this, and it's untenable.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that I have so many ideas,
Mm-hmm.
but I need to simplify. Yeah, that's enough words.
Yeah. So if we were to, shall we say, boil that down to the one or two real roadblocks that are in your way,
Mm.
you talk about overwhelm, you talked about so many ideas. What is it that's, do you believe anyway, is probably in the way from you picking one of those ideas?
Um, I'm sure that you could probably refine this further, but I'm afraid I'll get it wrong.
Okay.
And um, and then probably uh, and maybe I can't live up to it would be the other. So different versions of getting it wrong, probably.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Thank you. Those are two pretty powerful messages. One is, I'm afraid I'm going to get it wrong. Like, oh my gosh, especially if there's that little perfectionist lurking in the corner. Getting something
Yeah.
wrong is not a good
Really
strategy.
not acceptable. Yeah.
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 And the other idea that if you got what you wanted, maybe you're not quite able to live up to it.
Right.
That's a very different but equally powerful sort of message.
Yeah.
So, well, let's think for just a moment. Well, no, let me ask you. To me, those things seem like two slightly different energies going on. Does that resonate? Do you feel that's true or?
Um, yeah, I think they're part of the same thread, but yeah, energetically they're different. To
Okay.
me, excuse me, the commonality is um, you don't know what you're doing. So, by virtue of the fact that you don't know how to articulate what you do, that's one piece of evidence. And um, then I guess I don't have evidence for the other one, but then if you don't know what you're doing, Mandy, then can you really deliver on whatever it is you say you do?
Yeah. Okay.
I want to acknowledge that given that this is, I am a coach and this is um, a video that will be publicly viewed. I just want to say that actually I really am a very good coach. So if you're watching this, it's I'm simply a human suffering from the thing that so many of us do. So let's not discount my coaching. That's my job.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And with 7 or 8 years of experience, I have complete confidence that you are a powerful coach.
Okay.
And
Thank
for
you.
those of you who are watching, if by the end of this you find yourself wanting to connect with Mandy, there will be a way in the description in this video for you to do just that. But what makes a powerful coach also is someone who's honest about their own issues, own energies going on. Because when people like you and I face our own things, that's
Hmm.
when we become able to help other people. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for your honesty. So the commonality is that you don't know what you're doing. Tell me about how that shows up in other parts of your life, that little thought.
Wow. Oddly, I'm drawing a blank. I'm
Okay.
thinking, in general, throughout my life, I've made really sure that I knew what I was doing before I even tried to do it. Um,
Okay.
and uh, I think that's, I think I was talking to a friend about this weekend. That's been a great thing in some ways. However, I do have to admit that I haven't had very many significant failures in my life. And I think that fear of failure is maybe part of, what's happening here is the idea of if I can't get it all figured out in advance, which I can't in this case, then uh-oh,
Yeah.
you know, what if I get it wrong or what if I can't do it right?
Yeah.
So I don't so it I I've seen this show up in places where I knew where to go to get the answers, like I don't know, I'm my brother's executor right now. And she passed away in the summer and I have no clue what I'm doing, but I know where to go to find out,
Okay.
and I hired a lawyer. So that
Yes,
helps.
of
So
course.
I have to, off the top of my head, I'm not immediately thinking of places where this shows up.
Yeah. So isn't that interesting?
I guess. What's
Yeah.
interesting about it, Paul?
Well, so often, so there's a saying that says the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Right.
But there's something different here. So I'm curious to know what's different this time for you.
Hmm. Well, this feels like, uh, geez, what is different? I'm trying to come up with a genuine
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
here.
Take your time. No rush.
It's a great question. I think I'm going to have to sort of march into it. So a few words. This is not my only business. I have another business, but so I was looking for the commonality there. But in fact, um, I left corporate America and started doing the same kind of work on my own. I'm a communication consultant, and so I already knew how to do it. I some and before that, I always was employed, and I figured if somebody, I just assumed if somebody was going to hire me, then I could do it. You know, um, and then when I started the first business, I knew I could do that. This one, uh, I I'm well trained. I've a number of certifications, all the things, and uh, and yet I always feel like I meet somebody who has this is certified to administer this instrument. I think, well, I better do that. I should have that too, And this person is so articulate about how they help leaders, rearrange their desks, and I'm like, well, I need to take a course on desk rearranging, whatever it is. And so what makes this different? Uh, do you know? Or do you already have a theory? I'm
No.
like clueless. It's such a good question.
Yeah.
Uh, this I take very seriously what it means to work with another human.
Mhm.
And perhaps this is just uh, my perfectionist feeling like I need to know how to do absolutely everything, or it might not be enough. Um, there aren't many guardrails, aside from credentialing and following ICF rules. There's perhaps I've just always had people kind of giving me the guardrails of here's how you do what you do.
Mm.
And um, and now I'm making them up. And I do have a tendency in my life to say, well, it's fine if I make it up, but somebody else actually has the answer. So I just need to find out what it is and then make sure I do that. Which it doesn't, I mean, I'm a pretty creative person and I consider myself to, kind of be very unique in terms of my ability to fly my freak flag and, be playful and creative and show my disregard for the status quo and all that. And yet, I think there's something, belief about, well, there is a right way to do this, perhaps only one, or certainly no more than six. And until I know what that is, then I might not be doing it right.
Mm.
I could be making that up, but it has a solid ring to it.
Sure. Well, that makes sense that there would be this almost insistence. I'm not sure that's the right word on getting the right answer, knowing how to
Mm,
do this. What's the correct thing?
yes.
Especially when we live in a society which is so based on structures and ideas of what's right and wrong, and
Hmm.
um, there's a certain way to do things, and the other ways are wrong. It makes sense that we would have this feeling that, oh my gosh, how do I do this?
Right.
Um, I'm curious to know what your reaction is um, to this idea. I've occasionally served on panels for business building for coaches.
Hmm.
And there's always a lot of talk about, well, you need to have a social media presence, or you need to do this, you need to do all these things. And in the end, what I find helps me the most and what seems to help others the most but I would love to know your reaction to this.
Mhm.
Is that, of course, we're all trying to get from here to the other side of the woods. And when we see a path, we already know that's somebody else's path
Ah,
because it's a path that's been taken.
yeah.
So that seemed to have some resonance or some reaction in you. Tell me what's going on.
Well, first, can you repeat the second sentence? Because it's the path.
Um, if we see a path, we already know that it's somebody else's
Right.
as we're looking into this woods that we're trying
Yeah.
to enter.
Right. Yes. Yes. Um, that is great resonance for me because intellectually I understand that there are a million, we can all, many of us can be on the same path because even though it's a similar path, it's going to be different for any of us. And there are so many people. There's so many people, it's not everybody is looking to go on the same path with the same person. And that's an intellectual understanding, but I can feel somatically when you said that, my body kind of went, ooh, that it did there. That's a very true thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. My own belief is that we can't be on the same path, that we have our unique path, just as
Yes.
everyone does. Now when we see those other paths, there may very well be some very powerful things to learn from looking
Right.
down other people's paths and see what they did, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
But to recognize that going down their path is sort of like trying to live their life, to run their
Ah,
business.
yeah.
And we need to be ours. So what's the emotional reaction you have when you hear that our path is unique?
Well, the emotional reaction I have is kind of like, yay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, great. Okay, just tell me what it is and then I'll do that,
Yeah.
you know?
So how do I figure out that one unique path? Absolutely.
Oh, and I so know the answers for somebody else, you
Ah,
know, I think. But
yeah.
yeah, um, that lands for me that I know it's true. And there's actually a real hopefulness in there too,
Mhm.
that we each have our own path because duh, we all do, right?
Yeah.
And that feels hard.
Mhm.
Um, I really want to be respectful of time. So this is going to be a very small piece of information. I don't want you to worry that I'm going to go tell you my life history. Um, my sister and I were talking only yesterday. She's 11 years my senior, but we had similar experiences in upbringing that our we didn't learn how to set goals or to have vision. And we were musing over how that impacts us as adults. And it occurs to me in this moment that that's relevant. You know, I have a vision for the world that we might get closer to if enough people are coaching, but I don't know that I have a vision. I can't articulate the vision for my practice.
Ah,
Well, I can't. I want to retract that word. I have not yet chosen to be willing to risk articulating a vision for my practice.
yeah. What great awareness. What great awareness. And thank you for sharing that. That's that to me seems pretty important. If you had a vision for your business, for your work, what difference do you think that would make in your ability to articulate what it is you do?
I'm going to go with all the vision. I mean, all the difference. You
Okay.
know, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it's very exciting thing to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. My hunch is it would make all the difference also, or at least nearly so.
Okay.
Because
Good.
if you've got a clear vision, then we know what direction you're heading. We know what's important to you. And the more we
Hmm.
think about it, the more we can sort of refine and narrow down exactly what that means.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I will just mention that on my YouTube channel, where this video appears, there are a set of guided meditations,
Mm.
and there's a whole set of them for creating a vision.
Oh,
Creating a vision for your life, creating a vision for your relationships, creating a vision for your business, for your entrepreneurial adventure.
okay.
Maybe it would be helpful to you. Feel free to check that out.
So I don't think we need to do the maybe thing. I'm
Okay,
going to go there. Yeah.
great, great. Once you have that vision, though, I want to come back a little bit to, you wanting to really get clarity on how do I have a clear plan? How do I create the way that I need to articulate my business? So there's a little formula which is really common that
Okay.
for elevator pitches, when you talk about what you do, it's, I do X for Y, who,
Yeah.
and the outcome they experience is Z. It's kind of a formula, and it can sound that way when you say it, but it's really helpful to go through that exercise.
Okay.
What exactly do you do, and for whom do you do it? And what is the outcome? Now, if you're anything like me, when I started doing something like this, coming up with a who was next to impossible.
Mm.
There was no group of people that resonated for me. I thought, that's who I want to work with. But I knew what I wanted to work with. And in my case, it
Hmm.
was inner critic, that little voice in your head that
Hmm.
stories that don't help. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I didn't know who it was for. So I didn't worry about talking about the who. I just talked
Okay.
about the what. This is what I do. Now, if you have a who, and the more clearly defined that who is, the more effective your marketing is going to be because you know
Right.
who you're talking to and where to find them.
Hmm.
When you don't know either of those things, it's a little more of a shotgun approach,
Yeah.
but the message can still be really powerful. So
Yeah.
I would say first get really clear on what it is that you do and what the outcome of that is.
Right.
And if a who becomes obvious to you, great. And if not, over time, you can let your who find you.
Mm. Hmm.
I've been dealing with inner critic for a number of years when all of a sudden I discovered that half of my clients were coaches. And I thought, I never would have expected that.
Mm. Hmm.
So usually your niche will find you.
Okay.
Yeah. But it helps when you get really clear on what it is you're doing. So I just said a lot of words there, which was more consulting than coaching, frankly. But hopefully that was helpful. And I'm curious to know what of all of those words that I just shared seem important for you to be taking away from this conversation.
Well, all of the words seem important, and the word that came up for me as you were talking was that the word permission. Um, that I because there's a resistance, like, well, but I have all kinds of clients, you know, um,
Mm-hmm.
and we work on all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think that what I need to do is give myself permission to just play with this. I mean, because that's, one of my strengths in life and as a coach and as an influencer. So I know how to play and I know how to help other people play. So why the heck can't I just play with this? Right.
Yeah.
Um,
So what needs to
and
happen for you to be able to play with it?
I think, yeah, uh, I'm going to replace think with feel. I'm going definitely getting some body signals. Uh, I get to make it easy and and allow it to be experimental. And who knows, maybe I come up with a number of different ways to articulate this and see what sounds good and wear them, you know, wear each one like a coat for a week and be that version, be that articulation and see how that feels and see what shows up as a result. Uh, Most of all, though, I think what I'm taking from this is just that I get to make it up. I in my mind I'm going, but how am I going to fit, this thing I do into some kind of acceptable language box? And what you're reminding me of is that I don't have to do that. That's entirely not the point, or not at all the point.
Yeah.
I can write it my way because it's my way. Yeah.
Absolutely. And my experience is when we are more authentic and we are speaking with our own voices,
Mm-hmm.
that's what attracts people.
Right. Right.
It may
And that
also
is
it may also push some people away, but it's like those are the people you don't want anyway. So you're good.
yes, I'm so aware that I'm not everybody's cup of tea by a long shot.
Yeah.
And that is just fine.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, it
Absolutely.
is everything. And yeah, you're right. You reminded me that I should go back and look at some of my client testimonials too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I find one that I like, it's not carved in stone either. It could actually change or evolve, whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think one of the things I will just mention, I don't know that this is what you meant, but you said I could try on all different ones. Try this one for a week and that one
Yeah.
for a week and see what
Yeah.
happens. I
Mm-hmm.
would say that is a good plan to see what happens within you. How do you resonate with that?
Yes. Yes.
I will say if you're building a business, you need to sort of
Yeah.
stick with
No.
something for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I was thinking about, for me,
Yes.
uh, that's kind of an authenticity test.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just wear it around the house.
That's what I thought. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. I just wanted to
Yes.
confirm that and also mention that for anyone else who might be watching thinking, oh, I could change my niche every week. Well, you can, but you're not likely to make a lot of business progress with a new
Right.
niche every week because it takes
Yeah.
longer for people to recognize what's going on and
Mm-hmm.
for us to really get comfortable with how to talk about that niche.
Mm-hmm.
The words we need to use, what resonates with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we're sort of approaching the end of our time here together, I'm curious to know sort of to what degree you believe we've made progress towards getting some clarity on how to articulate what you do.
I've definitely made some progress. It's been, for one thing, I have some action items I can take, right? And that always feels like progress. And I do appreciate the framework, which I'm familiar with, but haven't tried to work with, frankly, in a long time. I do X for Y and just the outcome.
Yeah.
More important, though, I think, is the reminders that my path is my path, and that I'm somebody who takes a stand for embracing our uniqueness, and yet there are ways in which I am struggling with how to articulate that or avoiding articulating it for myself. So some really good noticings for me and reminders that you've shared with me about who I am, and that I have a lot to work with, and that I could just go ahead and try being me and see how that goes. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There are all sorts of little sort of technical business building or marketing techniques or tools or things that one can throw at it
Hmm.
and useful, but getting really clear on where you are resonating, what's really happening for you, what you are feeling drawn toward. That is such
Yeah.
a powerful first step, because then we know, oh, I'm going in this direction rather than that direction.
Right. Yes.
And hopefully that meditation on creating a vision for your business will be helpful in clarifying.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you need to sort of help this session come to a close and feel like this was fulfilling for you?
Uh, let's see. I to come to a close. Let's, well, I need to share this magnet with you that is I really like, and I feel like it's true, and I'm not sure that it's my friend. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Do you see that?
I refuse to be categorized with an upside down bird.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what that means to you.
Uh, it means if you try to if I say that I fit in a particular box, but then you try to put me in that box, I will all of a sudden not fit in that box. And I think that's charming in some ways and endearing in some ways and on brand in some ways. And I want to hold it differently for purposes of moving forward. There's a way to embrace that characteristic, that part of me that doesn't want to be categorized, without avoiding articulating who I am as a coach and who I can help and how I can help. Those are very different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Because creating an elevator speech or a niche or any of those things, the real purpose for those is for marketing,
Yes.
not for coaching.
Duh. Oh my God.
Because you can still work with anybody who you want to work with, who wants to work with you. It doesn't matter what their thing is. As a well-trained coach, we are experts in coaching.
Yes. That is so important what you just said. And I know I said duh when you said it, but actually that wasn't, it's landing very differently. I'm sure that intellectually I knew that, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
very important for me here.
Because people also often get into that, well, if I niche down, then I'm narrowing myself down too much.
Right.
When
Yes.
in the end, the opposite is the effect, because you're really
Really.
clear about what you're doing. People can then say, oh, that's me. Or
Okay.
that's not me. And then we're not wasting anybody's time. But I know somebody who all of
Yeah.
a sudden it gets really clear. And then sometimes people will say, well, I know you do this for them. Could you do that for me too?
Hmm.
But that
Yeah.
clarity is what is so powerful in articulating
Yes.
for people what you do and how you can help.
Hmm.
And that's what creates real impact.
Yeah. That is it feels profound to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really glad I showed you the magnet.
Yeah. That apparently it was a really important part of this conversation. Yeah.
Well, I'm big on uh, trusting my instincts as a coach and as a coachee. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to give you every encouragement to be you. I want to give everybody encouragement to be themselves. Be
yes,
unique and be powerful in their unique way, because that's what's going to make
exactly.
this world a better place.
Yes. When I first decided I wanted to become a coach, my vision was very simple. It was like, I believe that if I can do this work in the world, maybe fewer dogs will get kicked. That was literally it. And for all the reasons you just mentioned. So yes, I mean, it's really that simple at the end of the day.
Yeah. I will also say that image of so fewer dogs get kicked, that's a very powerful image. Be interesting to know if that has any place in your marketing someday.
Wow.
You'd have to be careful with it, but what a powerful image.
Yeah,
This is why I do
it is.
this. I know another coach who does a lot of great work with other coaches, especially. And one of her biggest passions is dogs who are homeless, helping to save
Hmm.
dogs, rescue dogs. And this is one of the reasons she coaches, is so
Hmm.
that she can support that cause.
Yep.
If that's what is at the root of what's going on for you, go with it. Take whatever, I mean, maybe it's not for
Yes.
you, but take
Right.
whatever is important to you, because that's where your power is.
What I'm really appreciating about this is that all of this is a reminder for me of what I believe the power of coaching is. You know,
Mm,
if we can, much like I'm struggling to do right now around this, we can all come to terms with ourselves. Doesn't mean we have to adore every aspect of ourselves, but if we can, in our messy humanity, embrace ourselves and go, yeah, this weird thing here is a superpower too, along with all the normal stuff, and we like ourselves a little better, then how could the world not be better off, right? Whether it's dogs or people or whatever getting kicked.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason that I care about this. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for this. There's something very is foundational about this conversation for me.
Great. I'm so glad. Anything
Me
else
too.
to sort of make this feel complete for you?
Uh, it feels really complete. It feels um, expansive in me, and I'm full. I would say I'm full. That's a sign of completion. Uh, yeah, I thank you so much. I feel done.
Great.
Yeah,
Well, thank you, Mandy, for your honesty and your openness and your willingness to show up and play this crazy game in public. I really
yeah.
appreciate that. And I know that other people who are working on starting their own businesses, there are going to be people out there who resonate with this as well. So
I
hopefully
hope so.
this conversation has helped them as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mandy.
Oh, you are welcome. Thank you.